Welcome to Getting Started with NetSuite and Working with Lists. Lists help you organize your records so that you can access information quickly and easily. In this tutorial, we will examine what you can do with lists in order to get the most out of them and to assist you in your work. Let's take a look at what we are going to cover in this short tutorial. I'm going to show you how to access and navigate lists of records, for example, customers, transactions, or sales orders. Once you've generated a list to view, I'll demonstrate how to filter, sort, and edit your lists. If you're like me, you only want to see the information in your list that is relevant, so we'll spend a few minutes going over how to create a customized list. Lastly, now that you've created a list, what can you do with it? I'll briefly explain the export options and how to print a list. Let's take a look at how we can access and navigate lists within NetSuite. In NetSuite, you can list many different and commonly used record types. Each of the submenu options will group the related records together. The most common list can be found under Relationships. Here you will be able to list your leads, prospects, customers, contacts, and vendors. You can even list the support issue records. Okay, let's show you an example of how to navigate and access a list. I'm going to demonstrate how to obtain a list of your customers. Start by moving your mouse cursor over Lists in the top menu, and then over Relationships. Then select Customers. Your list of customer records will display. By default, they'll be shown in the General view. You can switch to a different viewing option by selecting the View drop-down list. This drop-down menu will display all of the customized lists that you've already created. I'll explain how to create a customized list later. To apply criteria to narrow down your result, click on the Filters plus icon to expand and view the filter options available. Applicable filters will display, which vary from list to list. When you switch to a different view or apply the filter to the list, NetSuite will remember these changes as your preferred settings and will display that result by default the next time you access the same list. This is called sticky settings. Okay, so that was one example of how you can access a list. Another common way is from the Transactions menu. If we want to see a list of sales orders, for instance, we would mouse over Transactions, and then over Sales, and finally select Enter Orders. The order entry form then displays. The list link appears here on the top right-hand side of the screen. This list will give you quick access to view a list of records based on that type of transaction you're viewing, as in this case, the sales order screen. Navigation from the record to the list view is identical regardless of the record type you're working with. Now you know how to display a list of records, and we've covered the basics for navigation around lists. Let's explore what you can do with the list. Nearly all records to which you have access can be viewed in a list format. From the list view, you can filter the lists to narrow down the results to just display the records you're looking for, resort the records using another field in the list, edit some data fields from the list view using the inline editor without having to navigate to the individual record page, and also export and print records from the list. Let's take a closer look at how we can filter, sort, and edit lists within NetSuite. Let's navigate back to the customer list by mousing over Lists, Relationships, then select Customers. Expand the Filters option by clicking on the plus icon to view available filter choices. The filter choices displayed here are tailored specifically to the customer record. To filter the list to only show the information you're looking for, you can use the filter preferences. For example, let's say that you only want to list customers that have not been assigned a sales rep and have a status of lead. From the Sales Rep drop-down filter, choose Unassigned. The list will now automatically update, showing records of all customers that are unassigned. Now let's adjust the Stage filter to only display records that have a status of lead. The list is again refined to only show customers that have not been assigned to a sales rep and have the status of lead. Now that we've got you started with filtering lists, let's take a look at sorting lists. A handy tool is the Quick Sort option. This drop-down menu will allow you to sort the list by recently created, modified, or viewed records. It's a great feature if you're trying to find a record that you recently worked on. Alternatively, you can click on a column heading to sort the list by field. Notice the little triangle icon right beside name. This indicates the list is sorted by customer name in an ascending order. Click on the name title again to sort the list in descending order. To access a record in a list, simply click on the View or Edit links here, but by doing so, the list will be replaced with a record. My personal preference is to keep the list open for easy reference, and to right-click the View link to select the Open Link in New Tab option. The record is displayed, and you can easily go back to the tab containing the original list. The same process applies to editing a record. Right-click the Edit link, select Open Link in New Tab, then select the New tab to view the record in editing mode. Click back on the first tab to return to the list. Aside from accessing the actual record to perform an edit, NetSuite provides another efficient way to edit the record directly from the list. If the administrator of your NetSuite account has enabled the inline editing feature, data can be edited directly within a list without opening the actual record. Turn on the inline editor from the edit icon. All columns that are editable will be marked with a pencil icon. Once Inline Editor is turned on, simply click into any editable fields and enter a new value. Here's another best practice tip. Once you've completed editing directly to the list, be sure to click on the green check mark to turn off the inline editor before exiting the list. This will prevent any accidental edits. Remember that NetSuite will default current viewing options that you have set up when you access the same list next time. This is referred to as a sticky setting. Here's another best practice tip. If this is a one-time only search or filtering criteria that you're using, simply turn off filters before leaving the list. This is done by selecting All in the View drop-down menu. You can also update several records at once by holding down the Control key while selecting the record to update. For example, let's add a sales rep to the first 5 customer records from this list. Click in the empty space in the first record in the sales rep field while holding down the Control key. From the drop-down menu, select Fiona Small as the sales rep. Continue holding down the Control key, select the next 4 records, and click away to update each of the records. Okay, now that you know how to display, navigate, filter, and sort a list, let's take a look at how you can create your own customized list that will display only the information that you need. The great thing about lists is that you can customize them and you can create different lists based on your requirements. The original list will contain many columns that you may or may not want. Let's take a look at how you can modify the list. Click on the Customize View button. As we are creating a customized list, you need to give it a name. Let's call this list My Best Customers. In the field column, we have all of the fields that are currently in the list. I'm going to select the duplicate field as this is not a field I want to show in my list. When you select a field, you have a number of options. Clicking the Insert button will allow you to insert another field option from the drop-down menu. Don't add too many fields, as this can force horizontal scroll bars on your screen. The exception would be if your list is being created for an export. I'll cover exporting shortly. The other options you have are to remove the field in question, move it up or down, move the field to the top or the bottom of the list, meaning the first or last column in your list view. As I don't want the duplicate field to show in my list, I'm simply going to click the Remove button. I can always add it back if I change my mind later. Once you've made a change, be sure to click the OK button. Before exiting the Customize Customer Search results, be sure to click the Save button. You are now looking at the customized leads list that I created, and the duplicate field is no longer being displayed. You can access this customized view or others that you create by clicking the View drop-down menu. Any of your customized views can be further edited at any time by first selecting the custom list and then clicking on the Edit View button. Exporting lists can be done in a few ways. The first is exporting in a CSV format, plain text, no formatting on column headers. The second and most commonly used is the Excel spreadsheet. This is ideal to allow for further filtering of the data once it has been exported. Next is the PDF document. This is a good option if you need to restrict what the receiver can see on the report. And finally, the last option is to simply print the list. Let's summarize what we've covered in this tutorial. By now you should be able to navigate and access lists in NetSuite. Once you have displayed a list of records, you should be able to filter, sort, and edit the list. To meet your requirements, you should also be able to modify and create your own customized lists. And finally, you should be able to export a list to CSV, Excel, or PDF format, and also print. We have reached the end of this short tutorial. Be sure to check out the other tutorials in the Getting Started series. Thanks for your participation.